Are you guys ready to win some big money this week? In this video, I'm going to go over all the stats, all the trends, and all the best bets you need to win some major cash for college football in Week 5. Last week, we were a botched Hail Mary and a touchdown called back with a penalty away from an 11-4 week, both in the money line and in the spread. Overall, we're definitely in the money this year, 35-20, 15 games over 500 in the money line, and we're 9 games over 500 in the spread. So we're, even though last week was a 9-6 week, still doing really good for the year. So without further ado, we're going to get to the top 15 games of the week and the best bet. Starting with the number 15 game, Southern Cal hosting Wisconsin, 15.5 point favorite. Southern Cal had that late loss against Michigan last week to put them to 2-1 in the season. They face a decent Wisconsin team this week. Not really too much to say about either team. They're both not good in their respective stances against the spread. The public's taking USC 60%. I'm going to fade that. I'm going to take Wisconsin plus 15.5 against the spread, although I will take Southern Cal to win the game outright, coming off the loss against Michigan. Next game, we have Colorado going on the road to UCF. They're a 15-point favorite, more than a 2-touchdown underdog in this one. UCF is a very, very underrated team. They're only 3-0, but I think in the power ratings, they're very underrated. They're 20th overall in the country. The public is taking Colorado 77% of the time, so more than 3/4 in this spread. I'm going to fade that, even though Colorado was 6-3 against the spread as an underdog. They are 6-12 on the road against the spread in the last 3 years, whereas UCF is 12-10. They have a lot more favorable matchup in this one. I'm going to take UCF to win outright, and I'm going to take it with a 15-point spread to win in this one. Next game, we have Texas Tech taking on Cincinnati at home. The public is taking Texas Tech as only a 3-point favorite, 68% of the time. I'm going to agree with them. There's not really much to say about Cincinnati. They're not a good team. They're power rated 54th. They're not as bad as Houston, but they're probably the second to worst team in the Big 12. Texas Tech is not that much better, but I do think in this one they will cover the spread. They covered last week as only a 3-point favorite. I do think they covered this week as well as a 3-point favorite at home. Texas Tech gets the win outright as well. Next game, we have a very hungry 1-3 Kansas Jayhawks taking on TCU Horned Frogs on the road at home. TCU had the game a couple weeks ago with UCF. They choked, and then last week they absolutely got obliterated by SMU. I think, at least by 3 touchdowns. This one, the public is taking Kansas 3/4 of the time. I'm going to have to agree with them. TCU a couple weeks ago was looking like a decent team. This week, I don't know. Not only to mention that the analytics favor Kansas slightly, I just can't imagine Kansas with the decent team they have starting off the season 1-4. So I'm going to take Kansas with a 2-point spread only. I'm going to take them to cover that spread and win outright against TCU and the Horned Frogs. Number 11 game, Florida State finally got a win last week against Cal, albeit in a very, I wouldn't say unconvincing manner, but they won 14-9. A win's a win. At this point, you're 0-3. Who cares? SMU on the other side, they won convincingly against their former coach's team at TCU, like I just pre-mentioned in the last matchup. They won by 3 touchdowns. SMU at home against the spread the last 3 years is 14-7. One of the best teams, if not the best team, in all of FBS against the spread. They're a 5.5-point favorite at home. The public is taking them 86% of the time, so very, very much so. A lot of the money's going to SMU. I'm gonna agree with the public. I'm gonna take SMU straight up and to cover the 5.5-point spread against the Seminoles in this matchup. Number 10, a matchup of the week. Rutgers hosting Washington, a newcomer in the Big Ten. I think this is Washington's first ever. This is their second conference game. I forget who they beat the first time. Only loss was to Washington State this year. Rutgers sitting at undefeated record. They're a 2.5-point favorite against the Huskies. The big stat that sticks out to me, though, in this one, as a favorite in the last year and a half, Rutgers is 7-2 against the spread. I mean, Washington's not too much worse. They're 3-1 as an underdog. Only been an underdog 4 times in their last 19 games. But I'm going to take Rutgers in this one. Public's taking them 68% of the time. I'm going to take Rutgers with at least a field goal win over the Washington Huskies in this new matchup in the Big Ten for this week. Number 9 game, Oklahoma taking on Auburn. This is one of the most surprising spreads of the entire week. Oklahoma, even coming off only a 6.5 point underdog at home against Tennessee in the Week 4 matchup, they're only a 2-point favorite, albeit on the road against the Auburn Tigers here. The public's taking them though 3/4 of the time, 75%. Not too much to say about the spread and the analytics. Only thing that favors Oklahoma is they're 10-7 overall in the last 17 games, whereas Auburn has a losing record. So I'm going to take Oklahoma this one. They're 9-5 as a favorite against the spread, whereas Auburn is only 3-3 as an underdog. So I'm going to take the Sooners to win the game outright and as a -2, cover the 2-point spread in this close ATS matchup in Week 5. Numbers 8. Penn State taking on Illinois. Number 9 versus number 19 in the AP poll. Penn State comes in as a 18-point favorite as a home team on a night game. Illinois has been one of the more surprising teams, if not the most surprising team in the country so far this year. They went from power rated, I think, in the high 60s right now, all the way up to number 32 in the power ratings. Like I said, they're AP number 19. The public is taking them 88% of the time. I'm going to agree with that, even though the overwhelming analytics say that Penn State will cover this one. They're 11-3 in the last 14 games since the start of 2023 as a favorite against the spread, but 18 points is a lot. Even a night home game for Penn State, I think this Illinois team's good. They're 12-4 overall as the away team in the last 3 years against the spread. I'm going to take the Illini in this one. Penn State's going to win the game outright, though. Number 7, another interesting non-conference matchup early on in the season. Group of 5 playoff favorite Boise State hosting basically independent, but Pac-12 conference team Washington State. 8-point favorite Boise State is. The public's taking Wazoo 63% of the time. I'm going to agree with them. Wazoo is 6-2 as an underdog the last year and a half, and they're 10-6 against the spread as the away team. I'm going to take Boise State to win the game outright, though, but Washington State will cover the 8-point spread against the Boise State Broncos in this away matchup. Number 6, Kentucky going on the road to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is one of the better teams against the spread as a favorite the last 2 years. They've had 9 wins in their last 13 games as a favorite. The public is taking them only 57% of the time, though, as they're 17.5 points. This is a toss-up to me because even though it's not too much high leaning towards Ole Miss, the 17.5 was a lot of points to take. Even though Kentucky was 9-5 as the away team the last 3 years, I'm still going to take Ole Miss. They've just been too good at offense. Kentucky has not shown me anything that they can keep up with, some of these good teams. Georgia, they only held them 13 points, but I think Ole Miss has a much better offense than Georgia does. I think Ole Miss is just going to outscore them in the end, and they're going to cover the 17.5 points to claim this ATS matchup. Number 5 matchup, another surprising team in the entire country, Indiana, sitting at 26 of the power rating, taking on 3-1 Maryland. Indiana sitting as a 7-point favorite in this one. The public, this overwhelmingly, 90%, 9 out of 10 people are taking Indiana to cover the spread in this one. They're 10-6 overall against the spread since the start of 2023. Not too much else to say about this. This is kind of a toss-up. I'm going to take the Hoosiers in this one, though. Beat Maryland, get to 5-0, and continue on their magical early part of the season in the Big Ten Conference. Number 4 matchup, Texas A&M taking on Arkansas in a neutral site matchup. Not too much difference in the power rating, 29 versus number 19. A&M's 24th in the AP poll. Texas A&M comes into this as a 4-point favorite. But like I said last couple of weeks, A&M is not that good as against a spread team, and Arkansas straight up has won, I think, at least 50% of their matchups as an underdog the last 2 years. They're 6-2 straight up against the spread as an underdog. I'm going to take Arkansas to cover the 4-point spread, but also win this game outright to prove to 4-1, send Texas A&M back to unranked to 3-2. I think the Arkansas Razorbacks are going to be a very underrated team, especially with their strength of schedule heading down the stretch in the SEC schedule. Top 3 matchups here. Number 3, Kansas State coming off that devastating, brutal loss to BYU, taking on Oklahoma State, who's also coming off another, I wouldn't say it's a beatdown, but they were the worst team throughout the whole game against Utah. Kansas State is a 5-point favorite at home in this one. The public has taken them 75% of the time. They are one of the best teams at home against the spread, 16-7 overall the last 3 years against the spread. I'm going to take the Wildcats in this one just because of that simple stat right there, 16-7. I mean, that's very difficult to overcome. Even though Oklahoma State is 11-5 as an away team the last 3 years, I'm going to take K-State to cover the 5-point spread, obviously win outright as well, and take the early lead in the along with Utah in the Big 12 conference race. Another very interesting matchup here, number 2 matchup of the week. Undefeated Louisville, they only played 3 games, against Notre Dame, 3-1, 16 versus 15 in the AP poll, number 10 versus number 12 in the power ratings. Notre Dame sits as only a 6-point favorite at home against Louisville Cardinal. The analytics, not too much to say about Louisville. They've only been an underdog once in the last, the last 18 games overall since 2023. That game was against Florida State in the ACC Championship game. They were a favorite in every other game leading up to this. Notre Dame, though, as a favorite, has won 10 out of the last 15 games. I'm going to take the Irish to win outright and also cover the 6-point spread in this one. I think Louisville is a good team. They'll still compete for an ACC title, but I think Notre Dame is just a better team overall. Every part of the analytics shows that Notre Dame's going to win. I'm going to follow the numbers on this one. I'm going to take the Irish to cover the spread and win at home, get the 4-1. And finally, the big game of the week, one of the biggest regular season conference matchups we had since I can't even remember the last time this was. You mean 2017? How do you know what it is? This is one of the biggest matchups we've had in the last decade. Number 4, Alabama, taking on number 2, Georgia. Both sit at 3-0. Alabama is a home team in this one. Georgia is a 2-point favorite, though. Both are in the top 5 in offense and defensive efficiency ranks. Both have a really tough strength of schedule this year. I don't know much to say about this. Georgia, the public has taken Georgia 61% of the time in the spread, but this simple number right here, as a conference foe, Georgia is 4-6 against the spread, while Alabama is 7-2 against the spread against conference foes. As the away team, Georgia is only 7-6, while Alabama has won 14 out of their last 23 as a home team against the spread. So in this big matchup, Georgia versus Alabama, tied versus the Bulldogs, I'm going to take Alabama to cover the 2-point spread and win outright against Georgia, and send Kirby Smart to yet another regular season loss against the Crimson Tide in this one. That's my video, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel, and we're going to win big bucks this week. I really think Alabama's going to beat Georgia. I think Notre Dame's going to beat Louisville. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and check back in next week for Week 6 best bets. Let me know how you guys doing this week with the bets. I'll see you next week, guys.